I am going to make a empties video because I don't think I've done an empties video ever, but this is going to be an empties video combined with a little bit of a project pan update. Now, if you have been following my project pan on this channel, I uploaded a video a few weeks ago saying that I was going to do like periodic project pan updates. Like, I wasn't as invested in project pan as I was, but I would let you know every now and then how things were going. So today I'm going to do some skincare and makeup empties that I've accumulated over the past few months, and those include a few of the project pan items that I had in those videos. So this is an empties / project pan update, and I hope you enjoy it. If you were a follower of my project pan content, then this may be a little bit of an update on some of those products. And if you just enjoy seeing kind of people using their stuff, then this video is for you. So let's get started with skincare. The first product I finished at the beginning of the year was this La Roche-Posay Toleriane Roseliac cream. Yeah, it's a mouthful. But this cream is really, really good. Very good for rosacea and sensitive skin moisturizer. It has SPF 30, although I never use these kind of products as my main SPF. I always use SPF on top because I don't think that this is enough. It's usually very diluted and you need to use a lot of it to get the actual benefits of the SPF. So it's a good added bonus, but I would never rely only on this kind of SPF from a moisturizer. I was using this as a calming moisturizer and it worked really well, but the price point is a little bit high. So after finishing this one, I moved on to the CeraVe. It's basically the same product, but it's a little bit cheaper because it's CeraVe, it's not La Roche-Posay. I really enjoy this one. I like the way it just kind of sinks into the skin. It doesn't leave any residue, it doesn't smell of anything. It is quite calming. I don't think it aggravated my skin at all, and I do feel like it kind of calmed my rosacea a little bit. But yeah, then I moved to the CeraVe one because it was just a lot cheaper. As you can see, I used every last drop of it. I could cut this open, but I just think that compromises the integrity of a product. When you kind of cut open one of these tubes, then stuff starts to go in, and I don't want that, especially in a sensitive skin kind of product. Definitely recommend this moisturizer. I finished it, I think, in January or February. I can't remember exactly, but I definitely would buy it again if it were on offer, and if not, I'll just continue with the CeraVe one. Another moisturizer from La Roche-Posay that I finished. This is another one of the Toleriane line, which is for sensitive, reactive skin. So it's always got calming properties, and this one is one of these airtight containers so that it doesn't get any kind of contamination. And I was using this one as kind of a night cream. I had both of these, and this one I was using during the day because it has SPF, and then I would use this one at night. It's not specifically a night cream, but I just don't really believe in the difference between day and night creams. I just use whatever I have. But if it has SPF, I won't use it at night because I think that kind of beats the purpose of anything that has SPF. And I think that it's extra residue that you put on your face that isn't really doing anything. So I use this one at night and I really like it. I haven't bought it again yet. I'm finishing up other things. I finished this one in September. And yeah, I haven't replaced it yet, but I think once I finish what I'm using right now at night, I will replace this one because it's just very lightweight and very simple moisturizer. It does what it says. It's hydrating and it's calming. It doesn't aggravate or anything. It doesn't claim to be anti-aging or anything like that. It's just a hydrating moisturizer. So I will replace this once I'm done with what I'm using right now, but I really, really recommend this one. I also finished my Caudalie Vino Perfect serum. I haven't replaced this one either because I have another serum that I want to get through, but I will probably buy this one again. Usually I try to find this one on offer. Sometimes they have an offer where they have this and the sunscreen, which I'm going to show you in a minute because I've also finished. And that is usually a lot better priced. At least here in Spain, I'm usually finding the packs of this and the sunscreen for around 40 euros, 37 sometimes when it's on offer, but yeah, around 40 euros. And I know that Caudalie is a lot more expensive in other countries. in Spain, you can kind of find offers and it's a little bit more affordable. So that's the only reason I'm contemplating replacing this, because it's quite easy to find offers. But other than this, I don't think it's a miracle worker. I like the way it makes my skin feel, but it's not a miracle worker. It doesn't do any kind of miracles for my skin. I do feel like it kind of evens my tone out a little bit, but not more than other more affordable brands do. Either way, I would buy this one again because it didn't aggravate my skin. A lot of serums tend to give me redness or more sensitive skin, and this one didn't. So that is the reason why I would repurchase this one, because it was quite gentle on my skin. So I'm trying to go through another serum that I'm using right now, and then I will replace this one. Another moisturizer that I've recently finished. So I had several moisturizers open at the same time, and I put it in my head that I wasn't going to buy anything until I went through everything I had. So I started using both of these at night. I used this one, and once I ran out of this one, I started using the L'Oreal one. I'd already had the L'Oreal one for quite a while as well. So once I finished the La Roche-Posay, I started using this, and I finished this one last week. So we're currently sort of halfway through October. Today is the 21st of October. So I finished this one last week, and as you can see, it's all gone. It's one of these airtight containers as well that kind of goes up as you press it. This is one of these fun ones that you press here, but as you see, nothing is coming out. I would recommend this, but I don't think it does, again, I don't think it does any kind of miracle. So I don't think I would purchase it again. It was very interesting texture. It was nice and calming and refreshing because it's a gel cream. So I do enjoy the fact that it was quite refreshing on my face. But in terms of moisturizing or kind of like anti-aging properties or anything like that, I don't think that this did anything different. So I don't think I would buy it again because it did have quite a lot of perfume, and it didn't aggravate my skin because perfume doesn't usually react with my skin. But I prefer products that don't have a strong perfume, and this one had quite a strong one. So I would absolutely go back to the La Roche-Posay before buying the L'Oreal Revitalift again. I do enjoy the packaging though. It's quite fun to kind of squeeze this thing out. But other than that, the product was nothing special. And lastly, for skincare, I finished 2 sunscreens. Both of these had been open for a while. This is the Caudalie one that comes in a pack with the serum. I got them together, and I had this one open from last year. I started using it, and then when I got the Caudalie one, I started using this one because I read that the Caudalie was recommended for pregnancy, and that was when I was pregnant. So all throughout my pregnancy, I used this sunscreen because I knew that it was kind of safe or safer for pregnancy. Then I hadn't checked if this one, if the Avène one is, but once I finished with this one and I was no longer pregnant, I went back to this, which I finished in the last month. I think in January I was using the Avène, and then I bought the Caudalie, so I changed to this one, especially because I was pregnant, and then I finished both of them this summer. So I would recommend both of them. I think I prefer the Avène one though, because I don't like the smell of the Caudalie one. In terms of repurchasing, I would like to repurchase the Avène sunscreen, but if I buy a pack of the serum and the sunscreen, which is usually cheaper, I would have another one of these. So I think that I would use it anyway, even though I don't like the smell. Both of them did what they are meant to do, which is protect your face. But I just wish this one didn't have that kind of strong perfume. But anyway, both of these are quite good, and I would recommend either one of them. And now we're going to move on to makeup, because I have quite a few things, all of which I've finished within the last, I would say, 2 or 3 months. So first one is the NARS Mini Concealer in Creme Brulee. This is my summer shade. I bought this last year and I finished it this summer. These are very, very tiny. NARS doesn't put a lot of product in their concealers, so you can see a little bit of windowing there. I didn't remove the stubber in this one. Last year I finished the, what shade was it? Vanilla. Yeah, I had this small one in vanilla and I finished it. I took the stubber out. But this time I didn't take the stubber out because it makes such a big mess when you take the stubber out. And again, it starts kind of contaminating the product a lot more. I don't know. I don't like taking stoppers out. When I can't fish any more product out, I'm done with something. You can kind of see inside the windowing. But yeah, there is not a lot of product in these minis, so they're good if you just want to try out the shades, but I wouldn't recommend getting the mini ones. They're not worth it. Either get the big one, which doesn't have a lot of product either, or get a different concealer. But either way, this shade is really good for me in the summer, and I just finished it up this summer. I think I finished it in late September, and I probably used it. I used it last summer, and I finished using it all of this summer. So it lasted me a couple of summers, which is good, but it's not a lot of product. Next, I finished my Urban Decay primer potion. This is also a mini one. This is my favorite primer. I've already bought a replacement. I bought the big one this time. And yeah, this one is all dried up and I can't get anything to come out. Like you can see a little bit on the brush, but it's just kind of nothing's coming out. Once again, I know that there's loads of product in here. I have been squeezing it, and when I squeeze it, I still get a little bit out, but I consider this to be done because I don't like to have to work for my products. I know that the project panners of the world will not agree with me, and they cut open products and scrape out everything, but I don't want to have to work that much to use my products. Once I can't scoop anything out, I'm done. If I have to cut open a tube to use a product, I'm not going to do it. That doesn't seem practical to me, because where am I going to store it? And it's going to get all disgusting in my makeup bag. I don't have the patience or the time or the place to put stuff to be cutting open tubes. Also, I've had this one for like almost a year, but I don't use eyeshadow very often, and I don't use eyeliner all that often either, and I only wear this when I put eyeliner or eyeshadow on. So the mini ones last me a very long time, but this time I bought the big one. So let's see if that one doesn't dry up before I finish it. So yeah. Another product that I finished is inside my Vintage Compact. I know I get a lot of comments about this compact whenever I show it. This is a Stratton compact. It's a vintage one. I bought it on Vinted. You can find them on Vinted, eBay, wherever you can get secondhand stuff in your country. Try and look for them there. The brand is Stratton, and they have really beautiful designs. I chose this one because it was also in quite good condition. And in here I put my Rimmel Kind and Free powder, which I have finished. So let me show you. There is a little bit up here, but again, I'm not someone who is going to start scraping that, because the minute I scrape that out, it's going to crumble and go everywhere. So I'm calling this done, and I'm going to replace the pan with a fresh Rimmel powder. And that's it. I'm not going to work extra hard to get these 3 crumbs that are left here, because I've done that before, and all it does is get all over the place, and it's just, yeah, I don't have the need to scrape every single last droplet. To me, this is a well-loved and well-used product, and I'm happy to discard it and get a new one. Also, I've mentioned this before, but if you're thinking of getting one of these vintage compacts, keep in mind the size of the pan. This is a Rimmel pan. Rimmel and Max Factor pans fit perfectly into these vintage compacts, but not all products or all brands do. So check the measurements before you get one of these. Rimmel and Max Factor tend to be quite available in many countries, so I hope that kind of helps if you're thinking of getting one of these vintage compacts. And now for the products I had in my project pan that I've actually finished are the Charlotte Tilbury mini airbrush powder. I have the shade 1, and this one is completely gone. I had a little bit left on the sides and it crumbled. Tried to use it a few times, but like I said, I hate having to work for my makeup and making a mess and every time I use them. So in the end, those 3 crumbs that I had left, I just discarded, and I called it done because I really did use the whole thing. This was the mini one, and I think it must have lasted me about a year of pretty consistent use. So it was actually worth it. I would not get the big one because it's huge, and I don't think it's that good of a powder to spend all the money that it costs. But if you do want to spend that money, I do think that it is kind of worth it to a certain point. You do get quite a lot of product. It's quite good, and it does last quite a long time as well. So I do recommend it, but get the big one. Don't get the mini one. The mini ones are never worth it. They're only worth it if you want to try something out, which is the reason why I buy them. But don't buy them consistently, because powders especially don't expire as quickly as liquid products. So here it would be much more worth it to buy the big size and just use it for years instead of buying the mini one, because the price per gram is very different. So but yeah, this is in my project pan, and if you were interested on knowing how things were going in my project pan, here is a finished makeup product. I think my goal with this one was to finish it this year, and I finished it in August, I can't remember. It was early on in the summer. So even though I'm not tracking my goals anymore, this is a completed goal in my project pan. And lastly, I have the infamous Nivea Blackberry Shine. It's marketed under a different brand in Spain, but this is the Nivea Blackberry Shine lip balm. I used this to death. I've used this all summer, all winter, all spring, and even a little bit of autumn. And I finally reached the end. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't explain to you how much I used this. I reapplied it. I used it as blush. I lent it to friends. I wanted to get this done with. And once again, I know, well, let me show you the empty tube. But once again, I know that the project panners will tell me to scrape this and put it in a jar and keep using it. I'm not going to do that, because if it's not working in the packaging anymore, to me, it's complete. I don't want to use it enough to scrape it out. I don't want to prove anything to myself or anyone that I used every single last drop, because this is also €3, so I think I got my money's worth out of this product already. I don't need to scrape every single last bit of it. So I think that I can call this done finally and get it out of my system, because I am so bored of this. This is so purple. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just that it looks very purple, and the more I used it, the more purple it looked, and the more bored I was of it. So I was determined to finish this, and I did, and I'm very proud of myself. But yeah, I'm not going to scrape that out. I'm too proud of myself to scrape this out and have to continue using it for like another month or two. So I'm done. And this was also in my project pan with the goal of finishing, and I did. So I am very proud of this. Anyway, these are my empty products from the last few months. I'm really committed to buying less and using what I have, and I think I've made quite a good progress, because normally I would have maybe tried different moisturizers, bought different things, and now I'm really just simplifying and using what I have, and then buying what I need. A lot of these were halfway done, open at the same time, and I made a point to finish them, use them up, and then move on to something else. And right now I'm actually down to my last moisturizer. I'm only using one sunscreen. I have a lip balm out of the way, which is a huge accomplishment. And yeah, I'm just really embracing simplicity and not buying things just because I can, there's so many more interesting ways to use my money and to save my money. So I don't want to lean into buying things that I don't need. So I hope you enjoyed this very kind of short empties and mini project pan update. If you missed those, I'm happy to keep showing you these every now and then. These are not very frequent because I don't go through products that quickly, but I think maybe a couple times a year I can show you stuff that I've used up. So let me know if you like these kind of videos, and I will continue to keep my trash in a bag, because this is quite funny. My husband was saying, like, why are you keeping all these things? I'm like, because I want to film a video. I know it's rubbish and this should all go into the recycling, but I need to film a video. But now that I've filmed it, all of this is going to be recycled adequately. I'm going to separate the parts that I can and clean everything out to properly recycle, and it's finally out of my house. I don't have rubbish in a bag anymore. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.